Hold up. Wait a minute. I wish you love, peace, and hair grease.
Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
This is Carla Renata, a.k.a. the Curvy Critic, and I shoot straight from the hip.
Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip. Love, peace, and hair grease. Yeah, you know I'm always shooting straight from the hip.
Let's take a trip around the curve.
Hampton, but we the real HU, girl. Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm so excited. Welcome to the 200th episode broadcast of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. And I am your host, Carla Renata. I am so happy to be here with 200 shows. And that theme song that you heard was written by my good friend, Bobby Day, where he took some samples of my voice and everything. I kind of love it. It's kind of classy. And that's how we're going to bring in 200 shows at the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Let me give a big old shout out to my boy who is always here, Brandon. He's always telling me what he's watching. He's also been watching The Proud Family TV series called Louder and Prouder. I know all about that, Brandon. He always telling me what he's watching. He said he's been watching Cartoon Network classics like the OG Powerpuff Girls on Hulu and been watching his favorite show, The Loud House. And he says that he can't wait for me to talk about The Batman and Pixar's Turning Red. There's an embargo on Pixar's Turning Red, so I won't be talking about that today, but baby, I got you on The Batman. So if this is your first time joining me, please do yourselves a favor. If you are on Facebook, click that bell for notifications. Give me a big thumbs up to let me know you were here. And subscribe to the channel. You never know who you will see here today or see here any day, really. I am so excited because I have done 200 episodes of the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata here via StreamYard and YouTube and Facebook Live and Twitter and LinkedIn. And I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So there's that. And I'm really excited. I'm grateful for every click, every subscription, every comment, good, bad, or ugly. I am grateful for every publicists that allowed me to speak to their clients, every celebrity that I talked to. You saw some of them in the opening montage that I have a new montage that I have now. I have new artwork. You saw a little bit of that, but yeah, I'm just super, super, super excited. I usually start the episode off talking about what I did the week before. And basically what I did this week is I taped the pre-show for the Black Reel Awards, which is actually airing right now. So if you type in Black Reel, REEL, you'll be able to watch the pre-show and the awards. It's myself, Sean Edwards, Wilson Morales, and Sharon Nicole. We are all four of us talking about who we thought was going to win, and then we talked about who won. Of course, there was 5,000 awards this weekend, so I'll address all of that in Around the Curve. And I also had the opportunity to voice a voiceover for a ABC special that's ending out Black History Month called A Celebration with Black Women. A conversation with Black women. It was hosted by Deborah Roberts. So if you go over to the ABC channel, you can hear your girl voicing the intro, which introduces Deborah Roberts before the show, in between the breaks, and I do the last voiceover when the show is over. So that was pretty much what my week was. But before we get on to The Batman and my special guest today, who is my namesake, Carla Farmer, the Oscar-nominated hairstylist for Coming to America. Before we get to Coming to America, Carla Farmer, Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz, Paul Dano, and Jeffrey Wright, let's take a trip around the curve. Trip Around the Curve, the feature film Shirley is currently filming in Cincinnati from participant in Regina King's Royal Ties production with an all-star cast featuring Regina King as Shirley Chisholm and directed by John Ridley. Devon Franklin renews his overall deal with CBS Studios. In hopes of raising more awareness and calling attention to missing persons of color, Access Hollywood has teamed up with the Black and Missing Foundation for monthly on-air segments to be hosted by Access's own Zuri Hall. Twisted Metal Peacock lands a live-action video game adaptation starring Anthony Mackie. Lifetime greenlights holiday movies from Whoopi Goldberg, Mario Lopez, and more. The Broadway revival of Intozaki Shange's For Color Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough, directed and choreographed by Tony Award-winning Camille Brown, is set to begin performances on Friday, April 1st, with opening night on April 20th. Steven Spielberg is developing a film based on Steve McQueen's character Frank Bullitt. James Brown got a brand new docuseries from Mick Jagger and Questlove for A&E. Awards this weekend. Coda scored at the 2022 SAG Awards, winning the Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture, the first ever honor for deaf performers. Will Smith won the lead actor, Jessica Chastain lead actress, Ariana DeBose won Best Female in a Supporting Role, and Troy Kotzer became the first deaf actor to win for his work in Coda. Helen Mirren was given the Lifetime Achievement Award, which she made a very funny joke about the word SAG. Look it up on the internet. The red carpet was hosted by Laverne Cox and Yvette Nicole Brown. Maggie Gyllenhaal wins the USC Scripter Award for The Lost Daughter, and Danny Strong won TV honors for Dope Sick. The Harder They Fall was named Outstanding Motion Picture at the 53rd Annual NAACP Awards. Will Smith and Jennifer Hudson scooped up Outstanding Actor and Actress in a Motion Picture for their respective roles as King Richard in King Richard and Aretha Franklin in Respect. Xavier Giannoli's Lost Illusion scooped up Best Film at Francis César Awards, taking 6 statues overall, and absent Leo Carax was named Best Director for his film Annette, which also took a total number of 5 Césars. And now that award season is in full swing and we'll be waiting to see who's going to take home that golden statuette, that Oscar it is, at the end of March, your girl is celebrating 200 episodes today, and we're getting the party started talking all things The Batman with interviews from Zoe Kravitz, Robert Pattinson, Jeffrey Wright, and Paul Dano. It's going to be a stone gas, honey, so stay tuned and keep those eyes peeled. I can't wait for you to hear all about it. That's it for this week's Around the Curve, baby. All right, so before we move forward with the show, there's a few changes that are going to happen with the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. Moving forward after the Oscars, which hit March 27th, I will no longer be doing a weekly broadcast. It will be done in seasons. It'll be 10 to 13 episodes per season, and the interviews will be done separately. And we'll try to have more live guests here for you, because I know that you guys love that. So that is what's going to happen. But I am going to take a couple of weeks off after the Oscars, because your girl is broke down and tired. So I will take a couple of weeks off after the Oscars. And when we return, I will give you the full skinny before we leave about how the Curvy Critic with Carla Renata's format will change. Having said that, let's talk about The Batman. It is written and directed by Matt Reeves, and it's a little darker Batman. I kind of love Batman. Batman is a superhero comic that's part of the DC comic universe, not the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the DC comic universe. And this one is a little darker. It's a little darker. It's a little edgier. They're doing some different things with Catwoman, that's being played by Zoe Kravitz. Batman is being played by Robert Pattinson. The Riddler is Paul Dano. And Commissioner Gordon, the very first Black Commissioner Gordon, is Jeffrey Wright. It's a little darker. It's a little edgier in the way it's shot, in the way that the scenes are happening. It's just super, 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 super dark. But I was kind of there for it. I was kind of there for all of it. I'm so used to seeing the other type of Batman where it's a little more comical, like the Michael Keaton versions of Batman or the Ben Affleck's versions of Batman, even the, it is just is a different, it's a different take on the character. And so I was there for all of it. The cinematography is really wonderful. That bat suit is a situation. No, it's a lot going on with that bat suit. The cat suit that Zoe Kravitz is wearing is bananas. The CGI is great. And there's a couple of surprises. I will not spoil it for you because it does hit theaters on March 4th. And part of the exchange of being able to be a film critic and watch films ahead of time is that we keep some things for the audiences watching our shows, because we don't want to spoil it. We don't want to ruin your movie going experience. But I can tell you unequivocally, this one is very different than what you're used to. So you're either going to super, super love it or you're going to super, super hate it. I don't think there's going to be any in between. And just to give you an overall view or view about what it's about, when the Riddler, a sadistic, they made the Riddler into a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and question his family's involvement. It really harkens to the times that we're living in right now, post Trump, especially with the situation that we're dealing with Russia and the Ukraine and all that. It really kind of harkens to today's times, which is something that I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that it kept it current, so to speak, and it didn't throw it back to a different time. I love the fact that one of the characters that was the mayor of Gotham was a Black lady. Yes, for the Black lady mayor. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Matt Reeves, for that little nod and tidbit of info. But yes, you guys, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. There's going to be no in between. But when I interviewed Paul, Jeffrey, Zoe, and Robert, I asked them both this one question about what would be the worst superpower that they have, and they had me dying with their answers. So without further ado, let's get into this interview that I have with Paul Dano and Jeffrey Wright from The Batman. How are you doing, guys?
Yeah, doing great. Good. How are you? See you.
Good. It's good to be seen. You know what I'm saying? It is good to be seen. So, in the film, someone says we all have our scars, Bruce. And I want to know what that means for you, Paul, as the Riddler, aka Ed, and for you, Jeffrey, as the commissioner. And I'll have Paul go first.
Well, I think you said it right there. That's one of the essences of my character. The first conversation that Matt Reeves and I ever had was about hero and villain and the two sides of trauma, and that Batman is born of trauma from his parents' death, and I think in this case and in this film, so may be the Riddler, and that's kind of the seed from which the character grew. But I love what Matt has done with this idea of vengeance and where he takes that and where that line comes from and what the Batman learns. I think that's really important considering how dark the film is.
That part. Jeffrey?
Well, I think clearly Gordon in the comics and in this film is an honorable man trying to do his best, but particularly in our film, doing it in an environment that's decaying and toxic. And I think like most cops, gets infected in some way by the environment in which he operates. And so there are things within that, that perhaps are unseen, but clearly, have to be there. There's some wonderful examinations of that in some of the more modern comics, some of the Frank Miller stuff of Gordon. Yes, trying to be the best cop he can be, but also struggling internally. So I try to be mindful of some of that, to give a certain kind of vulnerability to him, and this sense of struggling to survive the consequences of the place. So I hope that resonates.
It will totally resonate. I totally got that when I watched the film. I love both of y'all as actors. You're two of my favorites because you guys take on a plethora of different roles in a plethora of different genres, and you slay and kill it every time. But since we're talking about superheroes in this last little bit of time that I have left, if you had a superpower, what would be the worst superpower you could pick?
The worst.
The worst?
Not the best, but the worst.
Oh my goodness.
Boy, oh boy.
The worst superpower
would be the overwhelming ability not to be able to answer a question. Did that work pretty well?
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to go like practical and be like, I loved X-Men as a kid, but I don't like gun, I don't want to shoot lasers at people, so I don't. Yeah.
He's like, I am really not trying to shoot a laser.
I was trying.
Listen, I love y'all, and I love y'all in this movie. And congratulations, Jeffrey, on being the first brother to take on the commissioner. Yeah, yeah. That part. Okay, I'm gonna calm down. But thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye. I know I was wrong for being excited about a Black commissioner, but a little bit of stride at a time can't be, it can't hurt. And I was very excited about that. And I'm still, what's going on here? Ooh. And I'm still very excited. I'm not excited about this hair though. Okay, I'll fix it on the break. Oh, wait, there we go. All right, there we go. So yes, I was very, very excited, but not to be outdone, here is Robert and Zoe when I asked them the very same question. Well, y'all look like y'all having some fun. Don't stop on my account. I love it. Because we about to have some more fun.
I know your chair is very...
The chair is very similar to that.
You do?
I do, yeah.
Do you? Yeah. I love you already, Robert Pattinson. I knew you was a real one with a pink chair. I love it. So listen, I love that Catwoman is evenly yoked with the Batman in this film. It kind of adds to that cat and mouse along with that edginess that goes along with the film. But having said that, this is what I want to know. For regular people like me, what kind of workout tips do either one of y'all have for somebody like me after training with David Higgins? A sister just needs to know. I'll start with ladies first.
David's amazing. He's a really great trainer. He's really dedicated. He would come over to my house at 9:00 at night and work out on the reformer with me. And yeah, you need help. You really can't do it on your own. But I did really love, I was doing a lot of Pilates and stuff like that. And that was really, really fun. And just David's a great chat. He's a good, kind of distracts you with some funny stories while you're working out, which is very
okay. Fun. So Pilates, what you got, Robert?
What was I doing? I was doing absolutely everything. What was really helpful? This is really bad to say, but because we were shooting in England and we were shooting in the same studio as the Harry Potter cast, the Fantastic Beasts. And there's a bunch of other English actors who I knew, and I could see them all coming in and working out at the same time as me. And I could
Eddie and stuff?
Yeah, but Eddie was working out next to me, and I was like, I'm just gonna. I'd already been training for so much longer than him, and I was burning 10 times as much weight, but
competitive.
Need the competition.
Oh, I'm picturing poor Eddie just trying to mind his own business.
He did it a week and left. He never came back.
All right. So Pilates and some heavy weights for some core stuff. Okay, I got you. Now I know y'all got superpowers. Y'all are superheroes. You got superpowers. But if you had to ask for the worst superpower, what would that be?
The worst superpower.
The worst superpower.
Maybe, it'd be Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, it's kind of what?
That's literally dude, just stop.
I also think
it's no one cares that you're bendy.
I feel like reading people's minds, even though it would seem cool at first, would be it would be so distracting, and you would also, I think,
why aren't you thinking about me?
Or yeah, it's either they're not thinking about you or they are thinking about you, and all the things that people are thinking about. It's like living in the Instagram comments. It would be a nightmare.
That part right there. Well, babies, that is my time. But I just need a movie with just the two of y'all, just Batman and Catwoman, because y'all gave me all the feels and all the life. So thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Now, when I tell you the chemistry between the two of them is off the charts, the chemistry between them is off the charts, and you can totally see why. And when I said I needed a Batman and Catwoman, just Batman and Catwoman movie, I'm gonna need that too. And I also love the fact that that Robert Pattinson has a pink chair. Love you, boo. I need to see that pink chair. A sister needs pictures. I need proof. So again, you guys, The Batman is a Warner Brothers joint. It is going to be out on March 4th. Get your life. Check it out if you want to. If you don't, I don't know what to tell you. All right. So last but not least, I DM'd this sister. She is my namesake. Her name is Carla Farmer. Remember that name, Carla Farmer. She is a hairstylist in the Hairstylist Guild in Hollywood, and she is an Oscar-nominated hairstylist who just recently won an award for hairstyling for Coming to America. And she about to nab that Oscar. You heard it here first, y'all. But I slid into her DMs because I'm a huge friend and a fan, and said, I would love to talk to you. Are you game? And she said, absolutely. So here's a little excerpt of our conversation, or my conversation, with Carla Farmer, the Oscar-nominated hairstylist for Coming to America.
With King Richard, Serena and Venus, there's a lot of visuals to go by, but you have to find the iconic hairstyles because you only have a short period of time to tell that story. So you try to find which hairstyles are the most iconic that will make this story become real to the viewer who's watching it.
And let me ask you this. Yes, I do. And let me ask you this because I really want to talk to you about Coming to America, because there's so many different styles in that. But let me ask you this before we get to that conversation. You have worked on such major projects. When I go through your filmography, I see things like the ABC Black History series on the network Soul of a Nation. I see Marlon. I see Sherman Showcase. I see Black Monday, Scary Movie 2, Amistad, Get On Up, The United States versus Billie Holiday, Dolomite Is My Name, Coming to America, and King Richard. These projects star major people in our industry, right? Especially for Black people. How difficult or how easy is it to collaborate with big names like a Will Smith, like a Eddie Murphy, like a Whitney Houston or a Brandy, like you did on Cinderella? Especially with Eddie, because you've worked with him twice. So clearly he trusts you.
Well, his personal barber hairstylist is Stacey Morris. She believed in me, that she worked with me a lot. I would hire Stacey on a lot of my shows as the barber. But this woman, let me tell you, she was beyond being a barber, and she just needed her chance to really be put on a platform so people could know how awesome she was. And she sent me the script to Dolomite, and she said, Carla, I really feel that you're the person to do this. And I said, Stacey, if you get me this, we'll call department head, because you need to be elevated and you're helping me to be elevated. And so she got me the gig, and we worked together on Dolomite. And when Eddie's first day, when he saw, we were doing the scene, the scene when they're walking down the street, that Beatles kind of thing. When he saw the background and he saw all the elements in the hair, he told Stacey, I really feel like when I walk around, this is the first time I feel like I'm in character without prosthetics. He said, I feel like Dolomite, but also because of what you guys did with the background, he says it's very easy for me to become the character. So that was a real testament of how hard we worked and how much research we did. Let's get into because honey, Coming to America too, because I know that you added authenticity with this particular piece with, Afrocentric and Afro-punk aesthetics. And I read an article where you said it was inspired by the traditional Amansuzu hairstyle worn by the Rwanda Tutsis. And it also was inspired by Ruth Carter's wardrobe designs. So if you could speak to all of that for a second, I'd really appreciate it. Yes. So because we knew Coming to America and we saw the first one, when I read the script, I was like, okay, we're going to spend more time in Zamunda, which I was so excited about. And there was this new another fictional country named Nextdoria. And I said, okay, this is exciting. So it was presented to us as, okay, Nextdoria is not a wealthy country. So they were thinking, Wesley should look broke down and dirty and greasy and all of those things, right? And I approached it as, okay, first of all, in my culture, we don't do that. I said, have you noticed in the urban areas that when people may not have as much money as other areas, but they are still proud, they still are clean, they still fix themselves up? You know what? Do you notice that most of the mainstream fashion industry copies what the urban areas do? I said, so that's not really true to the culture. So I was like, why don't we look at it as they're an urban area, not so much broke down, but it's just more urban. So with that, I said, Tiana, when you see her, her hair would be different every time you see her because she's that girl. I said, Wesley is the president of his country. So if anything, he's taking all the money from the people, if anything,
Right.
And he's going to be sharp.
Like a Creflo Dollar.
Yes. And I said to, you didn't slide that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I said that. I did. Creflo Dollar. I'll say it again.
Yeah. So I said to Stacy, we're not going out like that with that greasy and, dirty look. And I just showed her a picture of this man and these men who had these different kind of hairstyles. Now she did the research. She sketched it out and she took it to a whole nother level. So all of that, which you saw with Wesley, that was all Stacy, and that was her research. After I just showed her one photo of where I think we should go with that.
I love that. I saw some photographs of y'all doing the mold for that wig, and I was fascinated by that because, like I mentioned to you before, I've been on Broadway. So, they would do those mold wigs for us to create the hairstyles for whatever period we were in. And that first show, How to Succeed, was set in the 60s. So everybody had like a 60-ish kind of hairstyle. So when I saw the mold for that and you guys were using Afrocentric hair, I was fascinated by that because I'm like, how long is this going to take? What is this going to look like when it's done? With the zigzags.
She had never done it. Ooh. Yeah, she had never done anything like that. I had done something similar to that in Dolomite with Craig Robinson when he had I did something similar, but she took a raw Afro wig that was custom made for him, but it was raw. And she did that. And she has a video of it.
I saw it. That's what I saw.
Yeah,
I saw the video and the footage. I was like,
yeah. She figured that out. Yes.
She's
amazing.
That was amazing.
She's amazing.
We can't say enough about Miss Stacy.
No, we cannot. Yeah.
And what kind of advice would you give? Would you tell them, in addition to going to school and learning their craft, because that's first and foremost, would you talk to them a little bit about the union and let them find out about the union or how they need to go about infiltrating themselves into that in order to work on a consistent basis?
Yes. The first thing I would tell them to do is work on self and have a connection with a higher power first and be humble. And that energy will guide you toward excellence. The second thing I would say is get familiar with people's work that you admire. Reach out to them. We're very blessed to live in a time where you can reach out to people on social media now. That mentorship is amazing. And I think we're willing to mentor, but the generation coming in has to be, they got to kind of humble themselves a little more and reach out and know that everyone, it takes time.
But I slid into your DMs. It was like, yo, could I? And you were like, you were gracious, so gracious. And then I'm glad I got you when I did, because honey, right after I slid into them DMs, you started winning awards. I'm like, oh Lord, I'm glad I didn't wait, because it would have been impossible to get you after all these awards, because you gonna win that Oscar, and I'll be like, yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Thank you and good night. I'm silly. Let me stop. But Miss Carla Farmer, it has been my immense pleasure to speak with you today. And thank you for dropping all those gems and all those nuggets and sharing your process with me. I really appreciate it, because I know that someone is going to watch this and they're going to be inspired. Now, I don't even have enough words to express what I'm feeling right now, but I'll just say it simply. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla, for having me. I appreciate you, and keep rocking and keep doing what you do. You're a bright light. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I had to end the episode with somebody calling me a bright light, because I consider myself to be a bright light, but I'm not necessarily sure other people see me as that. But that is it for the 200th episode of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata. I know this felt like a normal episode. It really did. But I just got to do it. I got to do it. I did change up the opening, and I changed up a few graphics here and there. And I just want to thank a few people before we go and I tell you what's happening next week. I want to thank Gil Robertson from AFCA, because Gil believed in me before anybody else did. I want to thank my famous friends who support me all the time, whether they are quiet about it or loud about it. And those people would be Yvette Nicole Brown, Octavia Spencer, Sterling K. Brown, Uzo Aduba, Billy Porter, Ariana DeBose, so many others that I could name. And I'm so grateful to have been able to speak to so many people like Jessica Chastain and gosh, my mind just goes blank, because I'm really quite overwhelmed. I thank every single solitary person that's ever taken the time to click on this podcast and watch it. Everyone that's ever made a comment, anyone that's ever shared it. It really means the world to me. It means the world to me that Brandon comes in here every single week. When I say I am going live, he sends me a message to let me know that he's here. Your support of me, darling, means more to me than you will ever, 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 ever know. I wholeheartedly appreciate you. I appreciate the organizations that I'm a member of: AFCA, Critics' Choice, the Alliance of Women Film Journalists, the Online Association of Female Film Critics. All of these people, Scott Mance, Gray Drake, Scott Menzel, who was very helpful to me early on and co-hosted with me over at Black Hollywood Live, Dario Kristen. All these people have had, Maria Nunos, Kevin Undergirl, all these people have had an integral part in playing with me being here and talking to you and honing my craft and getting better and better with it each and every time. I thank you so humbly. Now, beginning next week, actually beginning tomorrow, we get into Women's Month. So having said that, I have an interview with an Academy Award-winning cinematographer. Her name is Nicole Hirsch Whitaker. She is the cinematographer behind a limited series for Hulu called Shining Veil. She does some really crazy things with that, and I have a conversation with her. So I want you guys to pay attention to that. I also will be talking about Turning Red. I'll be talking about Turning Red, Brandon, and a few other films that I'll announce during the week, but I can't talk about them right now because they are still under embargo. And I will be speaking with the cast of Walter Mosley's The Last Days of Ptolemy Gray, those people being Dominic Fishback, Omar Benson, Marsha Stephanie Blake, and Cynthia K. Williams. I'll also be bringing you some coverage from the AFCA Awards, the African American Film Critics Awards, which is happening in a few days, and the Spirit Awards, which is going down on Sunday. And after these awards, y'all will be able to have a little bit more of a finger on the pulse of who's going to possibly take home the Oscar. I think it's safe to say that a couple of those categories are on lockdown already, but I don't want to say because I hope against hope all the time. But if this is your first time joining me, give me a big old thumbs up to let me know you was here, boo. Thank you for celebrating with us, sister, whether you were here in person or whether you came afterwards to say happy 200. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it so, so very much. I have 200 episodes. I have 200,000 people have viewed this podcast. 200,000 people. I can't even believe it. Thank y'all so very much. So until the next time, be safe, wash your hands. Some places you have to wear masks and some you don't. But you know what? Just be vigilant. Be very vigilant and try to, keep yourself safe, keep your family safe. And, love, peace, and hair grease. And deuces until the next time.